Welcome to Spiritual Debriefing, everybody. I am Ray. You can tell this is not Daniel starting it off because Daniel's not here tonight. He's off at a teacher success conference
thing. I thought it was the Girl Scouts, but
yeah, leadership. That's
leadership,
what it is.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Teachers are finally going to learn how to be leaders, apparently, because they haven't been doing it before. So anyway, I'm here tonight, not only pushing the buttons, but starting us off. And to my left, I have Randy.
I'm Randy.
Hey, Randy.
Hi.
Hey, Randy.
Hey, Randy.
Hello, fellers. How y'all doing?
Oh,
Good.
Yeah.
Good.
Wonderful.
Yeah, it was actually a pretty good day.
Good.
I'm Jed.
Hi, Jetty.
Oh, there's Jed.
And I've got...
Derek.
Wow. Hey, this is back to normal.
Right. Just the four of us.
Yeah.
Except we're on the couches now.
Whatever normal is for us.
Right.
Hey, Randy.
Hey, yeah.
It's your turn.
What?
You gotta like.
share.
Yeah.
Leave
Oh,
a
yeah,
comment,
come on,
do all
Randy.
this good stuff. If you don't like us, let us know. Send Ray an email.
Send it to me. Ray
What's
at
that?
Spiritual Debriefing.
Yeah, there it is.
Ray at spiritualdebriefing.com. You can send those emails there. All the good ones I'll look at. All the bad ones I'll just delete. We actually haven't got any bad ones, but it's okay.
Well, that's good.
We'll get one someday.
That means we're not doing our job.
No, we're not doing enough. We better start convicting harder.
Man, I'm getting better at
Yeah.
that. It's a lot to say. I'm glad y'all do it.
Right. Thanks. Yep. Make sure you share it.
Y'all sound like you've done it a while.
Make sure you send some comments. That's the one thing we haven't seen, but just comment. That'd be great. Share it around. People are watching, people are listening, so we're happy about that.
What are they watching?
I don't know.
Oh, okay.
They might just be playing it with the volume down. I don't know.
Oh,
But
Right.
something to listen to, I guess.
yep, something to listen to.
Yeah.
So
They might not be listening, but they're just whatever's on.
gotcha. So it's a lot like church for most people.
I was just thinking about like some of the TV stuff.
That's getting
It's
deep
on.
already.
Tell us how you feel about it.
I don't know. You just see sometimes some people in church don't look like they're really paying that much attention. It's all right.
I took one nap and
Yeah,
you're
right.
all over me. No, I'm
Yeah.
just joking.
It was only because you were snoring so loud we couldn't hear.
If you wasn't snoring, I would have said you was super concentrated.
Yeah. I was praying, man.
Yeah. People thought a bear got into the
I'm
building.
about to concentrate here in just a minute too, guys. Just watch it.
Yep. Deep
man.
concentration.
So I was in Waco this weekend.
Nice.
That's always good.
Right? Doing a quail hunt or something, right?
It was dove hunting.
Dove hunting.
Yeah. A family ranch down in Waco, and that was a good time.
Nice.
It was a really good time.
Your family?
No, it was Corey's family on their, I think his uncle's family ranch, and I took Wyatt with me, and we were there for 4 days.
All right. Get some doves?
We got some.
Did Wyatt shoot one, or did he take his Nerf gun and try to shoot it?
Now, like everybody shoots at like once, right? So
Right.
you don't really know who shot the bird.
Somebody got it.
Somebody got it.
Right.
And that's all that
you
matters.
bird shot at them too? Or?
Yeah.
So I figured.
Shotguns and
Yeah.
bird shot, and when you hear bop, 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 and then you see the bird fall, you're like, somebody got it.
Good job, everybody.
Right. So we don't keep count. I mean,
Right.
some do, but
So do you eat them?
yeah,
What do you? Okay,
yeah.
thought they'd be too tiny to eat. I don't know.
Nah, I mean, yeah, you got to get a mess of them to get a meal, but
I eat chicken strips and nuggies, so I mean that doesn't look like they're big enough to
Right?
make nuggies out of.
That's just the way they come, right, Randy? Just straight in chicken strips.
Micro nuggies.
yeah,
Right.
but it was hot. Man, it was hot.
I bet.
I'll take a 50 piece. No.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, you
Yeah,
got them
but
new
it's
dove
hot,
nuggets.
Yeah. They wrap them in bacon and put them on the
Yeah.
grill, and
Sounds good.
anything with bacon's good.
Tastes like chicken?
Yeah. See, it tastes like chicken, Randy.
Doubt it. Chicken's delicious.
Well, we'll cook one up and see what you think.
You can't convince me of that.
Just don't tell them what it is. It'll be fine.
Right.
Yeah,
Like, no, there's some chicken, Randy.
that does
We'll
not
fix
work
you
for
up.
me.
Yeah. Yeah. I'll give you a bottle of ketchup.
Tiniest little chicken leg ever.
I'm out of
Right.
ketchup, man. I like this Chick-fil-A barbecue sauce.
Oh, that is good.
Yeah,
It is pretty good.
I like
Yeah.
that about with anything. So
Well, here's a highlight of that story, Ray, was that it got me thinking a little bit. So Corey's dad is a retired captain in the sheriff's office there. He had a great career. a lot of different things happen in Waco.
Just a few.
Just a few.
That some people might remember.
Right.
Okay.
And so it just had me thinking too was I think sometimes we forget to listen to the older generation. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Like right now, I mean, we always go back to kids just because that's what we're going through right now. But I think a lot of kids, their attention span and they're wanting to listen to some of the older folks are almost gone. I sat and like listened to Corey's dad for a good, I mean, just sat there and just heard stories. And I thought I had a good career in law enforcement. Man, he topped it. I mean, it was, you know, because I was a cop in a big city.
Mm-hmm.
Going call to call to call. You go to shootings, you go to stabbings, homicide, you know, whatever. And I thought, wow, man, I was a cop in a big city, right? But then when you sit down and listen to his career and goes through the standoff, Timothy McVeigh, you know, and then so on, and explosions and everything, you're like, my goodness. So I don't know. I just dwelled on this for a little while, and I'm like, you know, sometimes I think we kind of forget to sit and listen to the older generation. And like another good example that I love is that Jed's dad comes to the insurance office now and you just sit and you can just sit and just have him talk and just enjoy that and really learn things from them.
They do have a little bit of experience.
They have a lot of experience. I mean, a lot. I mean, you're just like, man, you know, and we think we have it all figured out, even in our 40s. And some of us do, and some of us don't, right? I mean, we're still learning.
I don't know which one you're looking at when you say some of us do, but all right.
No, I'm just saying in
just
general.
kidding.
I'm not saying us four. I'm just saying in general, right? I mean,
right, yeah.
And so the more and more I thought about some of that, I always think too, like as us men, are we impacting the next generation? Are we having them sit down and listen to what we gone through? And I think, you know, some of us have, and I think, you know, we've done that to our own kids, but it just had me thinking, Ray, and that's all. I just wanted to kind of throw that out there where I think sometimes we forget to take a pause in life and just sit and listen.
Yeah. Okay, definitely. And the Bible even says that you're supposed to, you know, honor your mother and your father. And that they're then supposed to be honoring their mother and father and their mother and father, right? There's generations of that. Just saying. That's what it says. Mm-hmm. We can talk about Randy's situation another time.
Hey, thanks for that call out.
Yeah, no worries. Well, it'll have to be a topic, you know, it'll come up someday, I bet. But with that, it's the respect of elders, as you were saying. It's that we used to have a great respect for elders, right?
Yeah, I was gonna say, I think that's diminishing.
I think so too.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, even like what would happen if we mouthed off to our moms?
Mm-hmm.
What would have happened?
Oh yeah. First,
I would have been laying on the ground.
Right. Yeah. First, I would have gotten smacked by mom, and then later smacked more by dad.
Right.
Yep.
Right. Yeah. I think that, you know, I think Randy, you're right. I mean, we're losing that, and we're losing those old school morals.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It just had me thinking. I just kind of wanted to share that a little bit. I enjoyed it a lot, and you know, sitting just kind of listening, and now it's just a pleasure when, like, even when Jed Dad comes there and we just sit, and it's just, man, it just changes your whole mood, and you're just like, you know, like, people don't, if you don't know Burl, you will.
Oh,
You're saying we'll have to invite him on the podcast? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
But I think Jed hit a while ago while he was talking that we're a fast-paced generation right now.
We are.
And respect's not been taught. It's just, it's instant gratification. And it's one of those deals that there's no time for respect. There's no time to sit back and listen to somebody because my life's so perfect and I'm going to strive to get that new phone, that new this, new that. We don't stop and listen to how easy and simple it used to be or how hard it used to be.
Right.
Because we don't want to hear that either.
Well, I got for you. We talked about this just a couple Sundays ago. 2 Timothy 3. But understand this, that in the last days there will come times of difficulty, for people will be lovers of self, lovers of money, proud, arrogant, abusive, disobedient to their parents, ungrateful, unholy, heartless, unappeasable, slanderous, without self-control, brutal, not loving good, treacherous, reckless, swollen with conceit, lovers of pleasure rather than lovers of God, having the appearance of godliness but denying its power. Avoid such people.
Does that sound like today?
Just a tiny
Just a
bit.
tad
I
bit.
wondered it. Wow, written almost 2,000 years ago, and right on the nail on the head.
Right.
But why should we listen to that? That's so old stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
No, in the last days, boy.
That was sarcasm.
I don't know
That was
how many.
sarcasm.
I don't know how many last days there are, but we got to be in them.
I know.
I was listening to a deal this morning, and it kind of made me think of Daniel. It was a guy talking about running. He was training for a marathon, and he said he was at a 10-minute 3 mile, and he said he said that's too close. I need to be under the 10 minutes. So he went back and changed his mind and done this and took off sprinting and this and that, and he said, God told me, he said, you need to take your time. I want you to run well. I don't need you to run fast. Run well.
That's very true. The Bible even does say, right? Run the race well, right? You run by the rules. That's the other part of it. Numerous spots it tells you when you are playing. This is a battlefield. This is a war. We've talked about that before. But even in war, there is rules.
There's rules.
There's always rules. And if you don't play by the rules, things go south real fast for everybody. And so that's why we have to run our race by the rules.
Yep.
And there's only 2 rules. There's only 2 rules. Love God and love your neighbor.
Yep.
It misses love yourself. Where's that one in there?
I don't know.
And here's a good statement to all this. It says, you learn nothing from life if you think you're right all the time.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I'd seen that today, and I was thinking, well, I might just save that one just for later. But
You mean I'm not right all the time?
you want me to be mean to you?
Yeah. You want the truth, right?
Do you need the truth?
Yeah.
You can't handle the truth.
But I don't know. It's just a good little thing. That's what I've been kind of dwelling on since I got back, and I think we touch a lot of that too through these podcasts. Is that we take those times and then to listen to people, or we take the time. Another thing that we need to do too, as men. We do the men's group thing, but we need to take the time to teach. Right? We need to take
Share
that time.
what we know.
Share what we know.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Well, years ago, I was always out of town, always working, running, doing this, never around the kids, the family, or nothing. And I don't know, probably the last 12 years, I never missed a chance to be with my kids that I had the opportunity. And kind of looking back now, I'm really glad that I jumped out of that race and rush, and done something different.
Because that is something we can learn. We hear that through generations, right? The regrets of, I wish I would have done this, right? And I wish I would have spent more time, and I wish I wouldn't chased $1. I wish I would have just spent time with my family. We hear that over and over and over again. And then I think it's time that we need to stop and go, yes, I hear y'all. I need to slow down, and I need to spend more time with my family. I need to teach my kids stuff. I need to teach them what life is about.
And as a Christian, it is our responsibility. We are the ones who are supposed to be teaching our kids the Bible and what it means. Not Sunday school, not Wednesday night, not Sunday morning. It's not in the preaching. It's supposed to be us. They're supposed to go there to test the knowledge, right? That's supposed to be where they prove that they know what they're supposed to know, and get some group stuff going, and have fellowship. That's what that's for. And I'll even admit I struggle with this because I'm off and on. We'll get through a good while where it's every single day we're doing it, and then life gets busy. We're like, okay, well, we'll try to get it a couple times a week, and then next it's been 2 weeks since we did it, and then it's like, all right, we'll get back in it again, and it's just this constant up and down, up and down, up and down. But now again, with where Harmony's at now, I know my wife is doing, one of her subjects in her homeschooling is Bible study. So it's part of her everyday curriculum, but that's not enough. That is still not enough. It is my duty as the husband of my household to train them up in the way they should go.
Yep.
And so I should be the one spearheading that and leading that. That is exactly what the Bible tells us to do as men, is to be the spiritual leaders of our household, the pastors of our household. So are you the pastor of your household? Right? And I'm not a very good one yet.
Me neither. I'm going to be honest with you too. I'm not either. It just had me just thinking, I'm like, man, I need to change things that are in my life. I need to change my priorities. Because, here pretty soon, all the kids are going to be gone.
Yep.
Somebody always says, well, I get up early, that way I can go and read the Bible. It shouldn't be get up early. It should be get up and read the Bible. It doesn't need to be early. It needs to be up with everybody.
That'd definitely be helpful, right? That's get everybody else up too.
Yeah.
Like, hey, we're all getting up early to read the Bible. And you can go to bed afterwards if you want again.
I was going to throw that out there. If you think, doing something for your benefit feels good to you, try doing something for somebody else and get that feeling of helping somebody else and see how that feeling compares to you. And just a small little story here. You guys know I bought my Chevelle, and I still feel like it was the wrong thing to do because I hate buying stuff for myself.
Well, yeah, it's a Chevy.
Well, I would have just not liked it at all if I bought a Ford. So, well, I don't like buying things for myself because it takes away from everybody else. Well, I still have the feeling that I bought that car and it's mine.
I'm not sure about that.
That's where I'm going. Hang on. Saturday morning come up and the girls were going somewhere else. Haley and Amanda were going somewhere else, and so it was me and Hannah. I said, Hannah, let's go clean this Chevelle. We got a car show to go to. So she was more than happy to help me clean. She thought it was cool to hang out with Dad. Yeah, she's not really enthused about sitting at a car show all day long still. What 9-10-year-old kid is, attention span.
Right, you can't sit them down anywhere for more than 5 or 10 minutes.
Right.
So I got to the car show, and just as soon as I pulled in, we parked it. I got this feeling. I'm like, and this is not a bragging story. This is one of those humbling stories because, like I said, I don't like doing things for myself. I like doing for my kids and my family and all that. But we pull over, and I said, here's $20. Why don't you go sign the car up under your name, and you deal with all that today. Boy, you never thought that girl would touch the ground. She was on cloud nine. She went to the booth. I got 71 Chevelle. It's under hand to Joe. And so they write it up, got a card for her. She puts it in the windshield. And I was sitting here thinking, man, that car is not perfect by no means. You got a bunch of cars out there that's 100 times better than that car. I was like, man, it'd be nice just one time just to hear her name get called for something, just to see her reaction. They went through all the trophies, and they come down to Judge's Choice, and they called Hannah Joe. I was like, you got to be kidding me. And she looked at me and goes, Dad, that's me. I said, yeah, it's been you for about 10 years now. I said, go get your trophy. Boy, she runs over there, and that smile would not wipe off her face. And that right there, that feeling right there was better than anything else I could ever have. And that Chevelle made sense to me then. And and to say that story right there, I'm saying we need to take self out of everything. And if you can do that, you can find real joy in everything else.
Can.
Yes.
and it may go with what we're talking about. It may not, but I'm just saying, we keep saying we need to stop thinking we need to have something. We need to listen to the older generation. We need to do something for other people and compare those feelings. And it's a lot better when you do something else for somebody. And conceited, that's what the word I'm looking for. We're conceited nowadays. It's all about us.
Yeah.
And man, I tell you what, I didn't love that car more than I loved her that day. I was sitting there going, man, that is the best feeling. Now, on the reverse side, Jed, where you brought up, that car's hers now, that trophy's hers now, we go on to every car show, and she's signing up for everything. I think I created a monster on that one.
Yeah,
where's that trophy at now?
It's in her bedroom. And I said, we're going to put our trophy in a trophy case with everybody else's. Nope, that's mine. We need to go out there and clean my Chevelle too. Okay, now we're done. We're getting too far.
Yeah, taking this too far, girl.
But with all that being said, I mean, I guarantee you that probably made that old timer happy to sit down and talk to somebody. And you're not sitting there going, well, yeah, I did this much better than you because I know better than you. And I guarantee you the older generation probably likes telling us things, likes to let us hear things and let us listen, and then you can tell their story, whatever, however it ends. But I guarantee you we've sat down with somebody and that just made their day.
Well, yeah. I mean, Corey told me that too when we were all done. He goes, you don't tell hardly anybody those stories, like anybody.
Yeah.
And I'm like, man, it's just a great privilege to have him tell me those things, and I just wanted to listen and be like,
right.
My goodness, man, you've had just an awesome career. I mean, I just can't say it's awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, you've had, a heck of a career.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
Because nobody really wants to go through all that stuff. Sorry, Randy.
Yeah, no.
But
I was just going to add to you, that's just it. It's a privilege to be able in that situation, because we all go through life just doing the best we can. If you stop and listen every once in a while, you'll get the little bit of help that you can have from somebody that's been through it.
Yep.
You may not take every bit and pieces from it, but there's going to be something that's going to punch you pretty hard, and you're going to sit there and say, wow, if I would have just stopped and listened for a minute. So it is a privilege to have those kind of encounters.
Yep.
And the biggest one of all, and Jed knows this, and some of y'all don't, but the biggest one that almost brought a tear to my eye, I think it did. I was just sweating a little bit. But he gave Wyatt his cowboy hat that he wore out there on the streets.
Wow. And
has stories that cowboy hat could tell. And I says, buddy, that's like the biggest privilege that you could ever have, right? I mean, that's the biggest honor. And I says, you don't do anything now with that cowboy hat. Like, you will always cherish this thing because...
And respect it.
Respect it, you know? So he knows him, and he got to hear the stories, and he got to, and then he gave him his cowboy hat, and I was like, oh my goodness. Yeah. You know what I mean? When you sit and listen, and you just sit and you care, you know what I mean? And you care about that person.
That's a great honor.
Yeah.
It's a great honor.
Because you don't understand how hard it is probably for somebody to get that off their chest. Because at the end of the day, they're looking for somebody to bounce that off of, maybe. And you are the one that they probably choose to be able to speak to. Because you said, not everybody gets to hear those. So it should be an honor within itself just to be able to let him have that release of some kind to say, there might have been something in there that he regretted back in his day, but if he actually got it out of him, that may have been just his day right there.
Yep.
And you don't understand when you're sitting there thinking, oh, I need to go. I don't, blah, blah, blah. You're rushing. You don't understand that's what that person needs to. I mean, you will get yours later, but that's probably what that person needed right there.
Yep.
Well, you guys remember Tom, right? Nathan's dad.
Yep.
And so once he found out that I had a background in some engineering and stuff like that, he started sharing with me that he actually built his own spectrographs. And he's been doing it for a long time, and actually patented and invented some pieces to them that improved them greatly back when he was younger. He's been an engineer his whole life, and kept telling me just every Sunday, he was always telling me stories about what he did, discoveries he made with his spectrograph. Talked about when one of the comets came nearby, he was the first one to identify with his spectrograph that it had certain elements into it, and he was able to send that over to NASA, and they were able to verify the information, and it just, to that point, I don't know anything about spectrographs. That has nothing to do with what I learned and know about. I mean, I know what they are, I know how they work, I get the gist, right? But he was literally, he'd bring in spectrograph signatures, they're called, right? It literally, it's how you tell what is in something using this with the light signature that bounces off. You can actually, that's how they can tell you what a star is made of in another galaxy, because they can test the light and see where it lands on the graph, and each thing lines up with an element. So you have this huge long line, and along that line is every element in the order from the lightest to the heaviest. And then you'll see these spikes along the line where it lines up with the elements, right? So they're kind of neat, but again, not knowing even really how to read them that well, he'd be coming and goes, yeah, this is the helium signature, and this is the beryllium signature, and this is the silver signature. I'm like, that's so cool. But just watching him light up to share that stuff with me, right? Because he didn't have anybody else who even half knew what he was talking about with that stuff. So he just loved that he had somebody he could share that with. And so it was, and I didn't even, I will actually say I took it for granted at the time. I enjoyed him sharing it with me and talking about me. We talked about, he built his own radio antenna in his attic so that he could tune in radio stations from all over the world and stuff like that. And just really neat. I bet you he had a million more stories he could have told me. So
sometimes you just gotta take the time.
I'm glad I got the ones I did, though. I'm glad I got the ones I did.
You could see the joy in your dad when he tries to just even talk to you. I mean, he gets excited about telling you. He loves every bit of just the time he spends with you. I mean, just going back, I'm just saying, compared to how they light up when they talk to you.
Yeah, the other night when he come over. I said, Randy and Derek's going to be there. Randy's going to be there. All right, I'm on my way.
It's awesome to be able to just see them light up, and you, like you said, we take it for granted.
We really do.
We sit there and think, okay, I mean, great, I get to see your dad, but you see the excitement on his face when he sees us. It's like, okay, I didn't know he was really that important in any kind, but to them, it's awesome, and we're not even probably talk about totally all the generations. I mean, you see our kids coming home, and sometimes they're happy to see us, but
sometimes,
sometimes. But I'm saying you could tell when you make an impact in somebody's life, and we're sitting here going, "What did I do? What did we do?" And you just sit back and listen to them. That's all they wanted. That's all, an ear to bend. And it's like, that's kind of cool. If you stop and think about it.
We're sitting around the office today. People was coming in, pick up checks and everything. There's probably about 5 or 6 people sitting around there, and Dad sitting there, and everybody had 2 or 3 different conversations going on, and then Dad started to tell a story on me, and
oh dang, I missed that.
Everybody just stopped it, but there was 2 or 3 people there under 30, and they just stopped it, and 2 or 3 of them just sit there and just smiled and waited because he stopped for a minute, and then he went on, and everybody stopped to listen to him tell the story. And I'll tell you the story if you want to know. When I was 10 months old, he let me fall out of his jacked up blazer onto a sidewalk on my head in Pineville. That's what's wrong with me.
Okay, explains everything. That's why he's so short. Just
power drive, short.
Stunted his growth.
Right there, age. Straight down on his head.
Yeah, man,
that's funny.
Yeah.
Not that you got hurt, but it's a funny story.
It could be both.
It's funny that
could
you
be
hurt.
both.
Yes, it could be both.
It's funny you're short. No.
But see, even a lot of times too, when he comes into your insurance office too, everyone stops.
Yep.
Yeah.
Stop what we're doing, and we just sit and visit.
Yeah.
Well, I think Randy's right. I think if you take me out of the situation, put it on others, and we do away with clock and time.
Yeah.
That's one thing, luckily, since I work for myself, I don't ever worry about what time.
Yeah.
I have a list and I go through it in the day, and sometimes it gets really long, sometimes it's really short. But you make the time as you go. I think that's 2 things that really hurts our relationships with others and with God.
Yeah. We're so busy. Or let's put it this way: we think we're so busy.
Yeah, we think we're so busy.
No, it's true. Yep.
Because you can make a schedule and you're not going to do 50% of that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. And it's not that the lack of wanting to. You're going to be busy doing something else. You're going to not have time for that. You're not going to do this. you're not going to do most of the stuff you say you want to do.
Oh yeah.
Right.
And you try to move it on to the next day, and then you move it on the next day, and time gets shorter and shorter and shorter.
I just stay about 2 weeks behind, maybe another week behind later.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep. I know. I was going to say that's what I remember from running at the coffee farm. It was always like, here's my to-do list. Get that made in the morning. And then as soon as like 8 o'clock came around and everybody else showed up, it was just like, okay, throw that out the window. Because all of a sudden, they all said, I need your help with this. I need your help with that. I need you to do this. Okay.
Well, Ray brought in some maps Sunday. You guys missed it.
Yeah, you missed my maps.
And he had, what'd you say, a 16-day minimum?
Minimum, yeah. 16-day minimum from...
So I'm pretty sure time mattered back in the day, walking, what'd you say, how many miles?
Oh, boy, what was the miles? I think it was I want to say it was like 400 miles.
Yeah.
With like a 14,000-foot elevation change to get from Antioch to Iconium. That was one of the missionary journeys that Paul and Barnabas took.
So
and minimum, it would have taken 16 days to make
I'm
that
sure
walk.
they
minimum.
probably passed your 2 weeks behind back then.
Right.
There's a reason why he's like, hey, bring my cloak, I forgot, because I ain't going back for it.
Right. And I'll see you here in a month.
Yeah.
Right.
If you're lucky.
Yeah.
Right.
But yeah,
Come before winter.
Yeah, because you could see like Ray put some time into it. It was so many miles, this per day, this city first. Then he climbed a mountain. It's like, all right, Ray, how much time do you really have? No,
Right.
No.
I got that done that morning.
Yeah.
I was just, after I made breakfast, I had a little time, and I said, I want to see that. I want to see that. How far was this journey? Because in the Bible, a lot of times it'll just say, and then they went there. And like in our minds, like, oh, it'd be like traveling from, Gravett over to Gentry. There's a little bit of distance there, but yeah no big deal. No. It was like, probably took them a month to walk from here to there. Cause,
I bet they were changing sandals out more than we changed.
yeah, right. Might be right. Yep.
They had to rotate them left to right.
Yeah. Walk barefooted half a day.
Swap them. Be like, here, you got to wear these sandals. I've worn them out in certain spots. You got to wear them out in the other spots.
Right.
Swap sandals.
Sell them at a local yard sale. We'll pick up the next one on the day. No.
They probably had inflation back then too.
Oh, sure they did.
But that's almost like our journey that when we follow Christ, right? Because we have a plan. We set I'm going to do this. I'm going to accomplish this and accomplish that. Then all of a sudden you just throw that list out the door.
Oh yeah.
Because you're like, wherever you want me, God, that's where I need to be.
I know that video that I sent the other day that was like, when you tell your plans to Jesus, and it's just that guy played Christ just laughing and just gut falling over laughing.
Yeah, it's so true.
Yep.
It's so true.
Go ahead, tell me your plans. Go ahead.
Yeah, tell me.
Tell me exactly what you want to do.
Yep.
I'll listen. That's not what you're doing.
Right.
Right.
But that's why we have to, every single day, so it says we have to die to ourselves. That's why we have to give our lives to Christ. And that's one of the trickier things to hold on to every single day, is that it's not about what I want. It's not about what I need. It's actually about what does God need? What is best for God? What is best for this person in front of me's salvation?
Mm-hmm.
Right? There's nothing more important than that. And it's broken down the best way, right? We are called to love our neighbors, to love everybody. And if you love someone, you do anything you could do to prevent them from harm. And every single person is destined for eternal harm. So...
Right. And then, I'll tell you, most men in their family, what's going to happen if you mess with their family?
Yeah.
Not very good.
No, it won't go well.
It won't go well.
Won't go well.
Because why? It's because we love them so much.
Yeah, we are.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm sitting here thinking about how many excuses we sit here and not die to ourselves, and we keep wanting to blame society and what's going on today. That's the biggest excuse ever.
Yeah.
Because we still choose to pick up our phones and look at what's going on in society.
We do.
Yeah.
Or watch TV.
Yeah, we wouldn't have to.
Yeah.
We don't even have to pay a single attention to any of that.
And if somebody way over in the next state says, this is what we're doing today, bam, that's what we're doing today. Instead of having our own minds and our own thoughts to be able to sit here and go, that's not me. I'm going to do this instead. But we don't do that. We want to sit here and be part of the next big thing.
Mm-hmm.
And like you said, it's just too simple to sit here and stop, listen, and do what we're supposed to do.
Right.
But yeah, that was just on my mind there. I was like, we just choose to listen to what's physical and not like live by faith and actually do what we're supposed to
Now
do.
listen to God.
Yep.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
Do we spend that time to sit and listen? You know, and we had a great discussion today at work too, because I don't know, a comment came up, and these kids are always on their phones, and I reversed it back to them. I says, "How often are you on your phone?" As an adult, right? How often are you on your phone? They're always on their. Adults are on their phone all the time too.
Mm-hmm.
My dad's on his more than I am.
Right. So they're on there
He's
too.
83 years old.
Everybody is. Really.
Everybody.
Everybody is.
But see, that's what I'm saying. It's the biggest excuse.
Mm-hmm.
It's something physical we can stop and do.
Yep.
It's not necessarily like we say, stop and just listen and do what we're supposed to do by faith.
Mm-hmm.
We will get told what to do in a way that thing can't tell us to do it. I'm pointing at his phone.
Yep.
I would say, or the TV or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just as guilty. I'm not preaching. I'm just saying it's an issue with my life too. Because
Yep.
we stop and look at the phones. I don't care who you are. That's what you do.
Mm-hmm.
But we shouldn't be making excuses. We do it, or we should change our own lives
Mm-hmm.
and sit here and go, okay, we can look at the phone, but make sure we give God equal amount of time, or
Right.
if not more. So, and at the end of the day, I'm just saying, I guess, even to myself, we're to blame.
We are absolutely, and it's funny because you hear pastors all when they're always preaching. I'm not preaching to y'all; I'm preaching to myself.
Yep.
And that's what we do here when we sit around. We bring up these topics, we bring up all this stuff, and it's not saying, "Oh, you guys need to do this because
Yep.
we're doing it." No, like we're just as
Like,
guilty.
this is what
Yeah.
I'm screwing
This
up
is
on.
what I'm screwing up on, and I
Yep.
just wanted to share it and be like,
Yep.
brainstorm it and be
Exactly.
like, "Man, are you guys struggling the same way I am?"
Right.
Unless I'm pointing right at you, Derek, like I usually do.
Right.
It's just you.
Right.
No, I'm just joking.
Right.
All you
But,
have to
yeah.
remember is that God is not asking anything from you except for everything that you have and what's left after that too.
Right. Right. Pretty simple, right?
Yeah, pretty simple.
Because you wouldn't have had it if he
It's
didn't
all
give
from
it to
it.
you
It's
already.
It's all from.
But that's
Called
all of it.
blessings.
That's
All of
the
it.
ultimate goal. That is the Jesus level. That is the point where it's I have nothing is mine. We are supposed to be the servants of our family. Our needs should come last.
Yep.
We should be the last ones to eat. We should be the last ones to buy anything. We should be the last ones to make sure kids got everything they need,
In tradition,
everything they want.
change that.
Yeah.
Have
They
you ever
did.
noticed, like growing up, dad got food first, dad eats first?
Yep.
And I'm saying, I'm just as guilty, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then we go back into the Bible, we should actually be the last ones.
Yep. The last will be first, and the first will be last. And that's hard. That's real hard. I'm working on that.
Yeah.
Because we constantly are like, but this is what I want to do. I want to do that. I want to eat this. I want to go there. I want to watch that. I want to, I want to go sit down on the couch. I don't want to go do these other things. Where we know at any point where there's that, oh, actually, I could probably go do that for my wife. She doesn't need to do that. She's gonna
Right.
do it, but I can go
Yeah.
do it for her
Right.
instead. Or I could go do this for my daughter. She doesn't need me to do it, but I could go do it for her. I could go make a thing, fix a thing, build something. There's so many, in the grand scheme of things, looking at better things I could do with my time.
Yeah.
Right.
Than be like, oh, I got to catch this last episode of Deadwood because I'm rewatching Deadwood. I got to watch the movie again. And right.
Yeah, there's a lot of things we take advantage of, take for granted. I've been here recently of a morning because like I said, that's my peaceful time. I get up early and drive to work and that drive through basically the countryside.
It's beautiful country drives out here.
It
you guys
is.
don't know, but they're gorgeous.
Oh, it's
They're
awesome.
so gorgeous.
Yes.
And I sit here
Arkansas is beautiful.
It is.
that's when I try to do my little prayer, and I'm sitting here and I'm just thinking, I'm like, thank you for the blessings you give me, even the hard times. I'm just sitting here going, we live by the faith of what we're doing. Like we hop in our cars and we drive there. We have faith in our cars it's going to make it there or make it back. I'm sitting here just, well, thank you, Lord, just for letting me have this truck just to not be sitting on the side of the road, driving to work, and making it home. I took the Chevelle to work the other day and I was sitting there I have not been on long drives with that thing yet. And I was sitting here just, Lord, please just make it there, make it home. I really don't want to be on the side of the road. It's hot. I don't want anybody damaging my car, and I'm sitting here just the little small blessings of sitting here just going, I have an air conditioner. I have a vehicle that will make it, I don't have faith in that vehicle that's going to start up. I have faith that God's gave me a blessing to be able to take this here and there. And that's been on my mind the last few weeks is just the minute things that we take for granted. Mm-hmm. We sit here and go, well, we've got this house and we got this and we got this car and we got, we go out to eat and we're all, it's like, you don't really understand how blessed we really are to be able to do the things we do. And, it's not like, well, I've got the money and we go do it. It's you've been blessed with having what you have.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And that's just part of taking advantage of like the time and listening to people. We take very big advantages of the time with everything else. We need to stop and think about, I don't have faith in my car. I have faith in God that He's going to bless me to get point A to point B.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And
I don't have faith in my skill at my job that's going to make it so that I get more money. It's that God is going to bless me and keep me safe
bless
and
me with the
bless
job
my
I have.
work
Yep.
and bless my, exactly.
That's it.
Yep.
I know. And that's, there's nothing that comes from us. We have to remember that.
Yes.
Yep.
We
Because
really
it can
do.
be taken away just that fast. And where's your faith at then?
Yeah. Yep.
Those sandals you may have to wear the tread out of.
Yeah.
or
Right.
my shoes, And and that's what's been hitting me here lately. Is just the small things we take advantage of. I mean, we take advantage of the big things, obviously, but it's one of those things. It's like we don't even. I mean, to the shoes we wear. I mean, that's a blessing in ourselves. With the cost of everything going on nowadays, how are we even breathing right now? I mean, with just trying to work and trying to maintain our household, it's a blessing from God.
It really is.
It's a blessing from God even when something goes wrong.
Exactly.
That I've been on that for the last month. I mean,
and I
anytime
agree.
something breaks or something goes wrong or your day is haywire, it's a blessing.
Something happened. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. My wife and I make the joke about it all the time, but I'll pull out, be driving away from our house. We'll almost get onto the main road. I'm like, oh shoot, I forgot to grab my water, forgot to grab the phone, or we were going to return that thing to Walmart. So I got to back up, turn around, go back home. That frustrates everybody. Nobody likes that. But we're always like, well, that was just God, preventing us from getting in that accident that was going to happen 2 blocks down.
Yep.
Right. That could be anything,
But
anytime.
we just look at the inconvenience of it all.
Right.
We don't ever look at what did God just save us from, or
Right.
what is God.
Or lining us up to be, right?
Yeah, I was
Again,
gonna say,
we're gonna
where
we're
are
gonna
we
be
gonna
at
be?
this place to see that person, to say that thing.
Exactly. Yep.
I told Lisa the other day, I said, I'm just done. I'm not worrying. I'm tired of getting mad.
Yep.
It's just going to be what it's going to be. She said, well, that's not the attitude to have. I said, yes, it is.
Yep.
I said, the Bible says, do not worry. We're not supposed to be quick to anger. I said, I'm giving it to Him. I'm done trying for me.
Yep.
It's
Because at the
all
end of the
to
day,
His.
it's His will of how it works
That's right.
out. And we don't understand that. We just
Yep.
think it's our schedule, and it's going to be His will at the end of the day how it worked out.
And there you go again.
Yep.
Our schedule.
Yep.
Our plan, our
plan,
schedule, our skill,
Yep.
our smarts.
Well, 5 months ago, we moved, so we don't have internet. We do have our satellite TV. TV doesn't come on unless it's for the news for me. And, of course, 5 months ago also is when I lost Hillary. I've spent a lot of times, I've seen a lot of sunsets, a lot of sunrises without closing my eyes. I've sat on the couch without a TV, maybe had the phone in my hand. Sometimes it was on, sometimes it wasn't. Been a lot of thinking in 5 months and a lot of giving it all to God. I had a good conversation with my printer today, and he
Not a physical device, a person.
A
Just so
person.
people know.
and,
Sorry, Jet's old. Right.
I am the oldest one.
There
in the
are
room.
people out there who used to print things for people. Just so anyone young who's listening. Yeah. Sorry, Jet.
He's a good Christian man, and we have not talked probably in the last 5 months.
Yep.
And he was checking in on me, and I told him, I said, step by step, I said, it's every morning wake up, give it to God, and hope to make it through the day. Yeah. I said, that's what it is. And I said, he said, well, he said, you've had a really horrible year, because I lost my mom a month later. And I said, yeah, it's been rough. I said, I haven't wanted, like Derek knows, he said, I don't know. I'm not really wanting to do life too much. But I said, it's getting better.
Yeah.
But I said, in the same boat, it's getting better, but it's getting worse. And I told him, and might as well tell everybody else, I was settling up the auction last night, and I do it at Mom's house because everything's there. All the supplies, all the copy machines and everything. So everything, I don't have to move it. So I'm sitting there, and of course, on the refrigerator, there's a picture of Mom and Hillary on 2 different corners of the door. And I kind of looked at it, and it made me smile. Went over to the copy machine, which I print myself. And instead of coming right back in through the kitchen over to the desk there, I went around through the living room, and Hillary's last professional picture done, school, I don't know, it was there. And I don't know, his instant tears. Today's been up and down all day long. And to be able to tell you guys the truth, I haven't cried yet to where there's tears that don't stop. But the last 2 days, they've been running pretty good, but they just run for a minute and shut off. But I just give it back to him every time. That's the only reason I can be here and the reason I can move on.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And he'll get you through those times.
Oh, yeah.
He really will. You know what? And sounds ridiculous, but you know the hardest time to remember to do that, though, is when things are good.
Yep. Right.
Yep. Do we every day when the money's good and the bills are paid and you're off doing some fun stuff, do we remember to be like, thank you, Lord, for all of this. Thank you for this good day, even if it's just 10 minutes of the day.
Yeah.
Right? Thank you for that beautiful meal I had.
I had that a week or 2 ago. I don't know what was going good that day, but I was driving down the road and I just screamed, thank you, Lord, and hit the top of the cab of the old farm truck and was in great mood.
Yeah. Yep.
But on the opposite side of that, I was asked today about, I lost my aunt yesterday, and she's the one that's been more like a mother to me, all these years. And I was asked today about, you need to grieve, let's talk about it. And I said, it's not necessarily that I have any emotions about it right now. And of course that you're hiding it.
You're not hiding it.
No, I said, if I pray to God and ask him for strength and comfort for this thing, and he gives it to me, that I have enough to sit here and it's not hiding it, it's actually strength and comfort that he gives me.
Mm-hmm.
Why do I need to sit here and make something up to fill that gap just to make you feel better?
Right.
And it's not necessarily, I was trying to be mean, it's the explanation of, if I knew she was in and I'm not saying anything bad about this situation, I'm saying you had it instant. I've seen my aunt decline in the last 6 months or so.
Mm-hmm.
So if I'm sitting here praying for strength and comfort for the day to take her pain away, I'm not sitting here grieving over the fact that she's gone. I miss her. That's my only emotion I have right now.
Yeah.
I miss her, but I know she's in a better place than we could ever be right now, and she doesn't have to deal with all this stuff we're dealing with, and she's not hurting no more.
That is correct.
So my strength and comfort has been answered.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not saying yours hasn't, yours isn't going that way. I'm just saying in the opposite side of this, I'm not hiding anything. And I even told you that yesterday. Yep. I'm not hiding anything. I asked for it. God gave it to me.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not necessarily, she has her own kids, but she treated us like, kids. My kids were like her grandkids. She was great. But I'm not going to sit here and put on a happy face for you guys or a bad face for you guys, because it's neither way. I have no emotions about it. I'm not hiding it. I'm just sitting here saying, God gave me what I asked for, so I'm going to take advantage of it.
God's give you what you've asked for.
Yep.
God's letting you deal with it the way that you need to deal with it. people think that you ought to deal with it in their way.
Yeah, in their way. Yeah, that's what I told you, didn't I?
Yeah.
Right.
The way it works.
That's not the way it works.
And he even goes, well, that's how we deal with our stuff. And I was like, there's nothing to deal with. I think that's what I text you. There's nothing to deal with.
Yeah.
I have no emotions about. I'm sad she's gone, and I don't get. But I'm at peace. I should say, at the point of the last time I seen her, she was horrible. I mean, like way back. And like I told my wife yesterday, I said, here's the deal for me. I was selfish when my grandma passed away because I wanted her here. It didn't matter how bad a condition she was. I wanted my grandma. But I didn't stop and think about how she actually felt about it.
Yeah.
It's not my decision if she stays or goes, obviously. But my thoughts in my head was, there's two people and women in my life that was like the best for me. It was my grandma and my aunt here. So I can't feel selfish about my aunt when she's in this much pain. Let her have peace herself.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that was my explanation to my wife in this conversation here today. I was like, not everybody gets that.
No.
I got it, and I should take advantage of that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to break down one of these days because I'm going to miss her.
Yeah.
Everybody does it. I'm not sitting here saying I'm stronger than the next person. I will not tell you that. I can't even go see my grandma's headstone without feeling horrible.
But it'll come when it's supposed to come.
And
Right.
exactly.
Right.
Yep.
And honestly, in answer to yours, my opinion, Jed, I'm sitting here just trying to have a conversation with you. I think that's a good refresher, letting it out, because God gives you the comfort again to start over.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
If you got to cry for a second, that you've had your limit.
Mm-hmm.
And you're going to turn around and you're going to have a brief moment of, I had that, I'm going to handle some more now.
Yep.
And I think that's the reason why God gives us the opportunity to sit here and go, yeah, I'll let you go on the way you want to for a minute, but when you need to grieve it, you're going to do it.
Yep.
And like I said, why should we sit here and go back on something you asked for? I'm sitting here for months going, heal her in the way you think you need to be healed. Look, I got the answer.
Got the answer.
They're not going to fix her. God will fix her if she needed to, and this is how it's going to be.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Now she's perfect.
Now, heal the family and give us strength and comfort.
Yep.
That's like I told Rick on the phone today. I said, yeah, I've lost the two closest people to me other than my wife.
Yep.
I said, that is hard to deal with.
It
but I
is.
said, I'm dealing with it because God's helping me through it.
Yep.
But I don't know where I was going with this. I've already lost that train of thought.
Yep.
But he's the one getting me through it.
Oh, yeah.
And I really, where I was going with that is I told him, I said, I know where they're both at. He said, well, you'll see them again. And I said, I know that. I said, they're the lucky ones.
Yep.
We're still stuck here.
We're still stuck here.
That's right.
And it's the truth.
Yeah. Yep.
Right.
And we grieve
Yes.
differently.
And we
right?
do. Yeah.
Right. And that's why I said, too, people are going to tell you to grieve this way.
Yep.
Yep.
No, I don't grieve that way.
Yeah.
Yep.
I don't grieve the way that you guys grieve. I don't grieve
Yeah.
the way you're telling me to grieve.
Right.
Because, we've all have losses here
Yep.
sitting in this room.
Yep.
And we've gone through losses. And, my mom died when she was 42 years old.
Yep.
And there's different periods of grieves. And I think, at different points of your lives, now in my life, when I grieve is when I have big moments.
Yep.
Like when my boy was born, or when I
Yep.
graduated the police academy, or, stuff like that is where, man, I'm like, man, where's my mom?
And we're going to have those reminders.
You are.
And
You
we're going
are.
to break down at some point.
Right.
But I don't think that's an all bad deal,
No.
because we won't forget them if we
No.
have those breakdowns.
That's right.
Right.
That's
Right.
where I'm at. If we have those breakdowns, that means they've impacted our lives enough that we don't. I'm not going to say this. It's not that we don't need them every day, but at least we have their memories that we can break down when we need to,
They're with
and
us
have to
every day.
remember them.
Yep.
And I'm not putting down people that are like that, by any means,
No.
because
Oh, no.
some people need to talk it out.
They
Some
do.
people need,
You're right.
and there's always need to be the people that's going to ask those questions, and they're the ones going to have an ear for it. I will not put people down for that. It's just not how we are, or not all of us are.
Right.
But I'm just saying, it's just we do grieve differently.
Everybody
And-
does.
Yep.
Everybody does.
Yeah, I mean, my dad died about almost 12 years ago. In January, it'll be 12 years ago, and I didn't cry at his funeral, and at all, right? And I first I was like, well, there's something wrong with me. People are like, oh, you're in denial or whatever. I don't know. But to this day, it'll happen just randomly. I'll just think of him, miss my dad, wish he was there, wish he was there to advice or to just see what's going on, and I'll cry about it for a second. But then I always end up smiling and
That's exactly
happy
what I do.
Yeah.
too.
Just,
Because I'm like, I remember
just a
him.
second.
Yeah,
Yep.
I remember him. I give thanks to him for everything that he did for me and taught me, and I know he's up there because I know he believed in God. Granted, he was not happy with God at the end of his life. He used to say, he's always like, I am very angry with God, but I didn't see anything in the Bible that says if you're angry with God, you don't get to go to heaven. So I'm pretty certain he's up there, and I look forward to seeing him.
You're right.
Yep.
Because on the other side of that, I'm horrible about, even with you, Jed, I'll call and be like, how you doing? That's the worst question to ask.
All right, do you really want to know, or?
But it's like I told Amanda on the way over here. It's just a habit for me, because I don't care who you are. I'm going to ask you. If I'm that person to be the ear for you, I'm right here.
Mm-hmm.
If you just say I'm good, we're leaving it alone. But you never know until you ask. Don't be one of those persons to be afraid to ask either.
Right.
Yep.
Because my uncle called me today, and the first words out of my mouth was, "How's it going?" And then I had to pause for a minute, because I'm like, are you that big of an idiot? Why did you just ask him how he was doing a day after his wife passed?
I do it too.
And
I'm
then
right at
the
Jed.
at the same moment, I'm sitting here going, I may be that person he wants to confide in, but I may not be either, and he's going to tell me.
He's going to let you know one way or the other. But you put it out there.
Yeah, but I also, I'm not that one for feelings and all that. You all know that, because I'll be the first one to be the jerk, But I'm sitting here going, I know this sucks, but it's one of those deals we're gonna have to talk about it sometime. And it may, and I don't want to do it over the phone, but I want you to know that I'm there if you need me.
Yep.
And he basically I guess I'm as good as I can be right now, and that's all I needed to hear.
Yeah.
As long as I can hear you give me a response, that's it. Phone goes dead, I know, well, crap, I should have asked you in person so you could punch me in the mouth, I guess. No, but and it's one of those deals. I think we as men get a bad rap about things like that.
We do.
Because we need to be the strong person, but also too, people need to realize that we will do it how we need to do it as well.
Mm-hmm.
And if we're not showing that emotion when you feel like you need that emotion, we're the bad guys, like you said. You're in the wrong. You're in the denial. Well, no, maybe my kids don't need to see me break down right now. Maybe my kids need to know they can come to talk to me if they have an issue. Because if they see me break down right here, then there might be an issue between that. There might not be. They might be coming to you. But I'm just saying, we have a bad rap about that because we're not supposed to show emotion. Then you're supposed to show emotion. Then you're supposed. We can't keep on the same page.
I know.
So
me and Lisa had this conversation the other night about how I was at the hospital with Hillary. I said, I bet everybody thought I was completely nuts, because I don't know that I shed a tear. I was listening to every doctor, every whatever, and just, I don't know, just doing business.
I was going to say, you explained it to us. You was doing business.
I was doing business. We had to get this taken care of.
Because when emotion gets involved, you can't handle business.
You can't handle business.
You're right. That's law enforcement too, right?
Yep,
I mean,
exactly.
same thing. Mostly any job.
Well, that's
when it's time to go to work. It's time to go to work.
That's what men are called to do, is to be the ones who, when it is time to go to work, we go to work. When it is time to, when it gets bad, we have to step up.
Yeah,
we're required to. We always are. We always have.
I remember when Haley broke her arm when she was young. I don't know what it is. I have I have emotion somewhere, but it's one of those deals. Haley was freaking out. Amanda was freaking out. I said, you both need to sit on the couch for a second, take a breath. Just sit down for a minute. And I wasn't being mean. It was, your adrenaline's going both ways. Your pain's hurting you right now. Breathe. When we all got calmed down, I said, now walk in, let's go out to the truck and we'll go to the emergency room. And this is not one of those stories to sit there and tell you how big of a jerk I am or how big bad and man I am. I'm sitting here going, people freak out way too fast.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not, she gonna hear this, she's probably gonna be mad at me, but I'm saying you need to calm down so we can make the right choices for our daughter. And it's not that I'm sitting here preaching to my wife or my kid. It was, if we take a second and breathe, it's not going to be any different if I rush in that truck and drive 90 miles an hour to the emergency room. They're not going to see her instantly. If I pull in there and we're all calm, it's still going to be the same time. We walk in there, we'll sit down, we'll get to you when we can. It doesn't matter. You start freaking out, and then you cause more problems. And it's not that I wasn't freaking out in my head. My kid just broke her arm. It's hanging back this way, and it's like, just let's make conscious decisions. Like you were saying, you're in a zone, you're handling business, and that's exactly what I was trying to do. Now, next time I could probably freak out. I don't know. I'm just saying. At that day, I was sitting there just going, whoa. Yes, you hurt yourself, but it ain't doing any good for screaming and hollering and trying to hurry up. Let's do that.
Yeah.
We need to think about things.
Yep.
And we may be going off in the wrong direction. I don't know. But I'm just saying, when it all comes down to it, we just need to stop and think about things. Have a clear mind about what we need to do.
And that's when you can remember to say a quick prayer to God too, right?
Exactly.
Because you never remember that in the frantic moment. when you're going, if the adrenaline's pumping, everything's going a million miles a moment, the last thing you're thinking of is, okay, hold on, let me pray to God real quick for whatever's happening in this situation right here. So taking that deep breath, slowing down for a second, say, okay, God, I need your help right here.
I was probably over there going, Haley, is it really hurt? No.
I don't think we're going off in the wrong direction.
No, because it all goes back down to
slow down.
Slow down.
Yeah.
I was just going to say that.
Yeah.
Slow down.
I mean, we're so busy nowadays. It doesn't matter what it is. It's, everyday life, work, whatever. Everything's just, let's get it done.
And that's why, and I'll tell you, I mean, one of the big reasons we moved out here, because we come from the big city and it's all fast paced and it's really like this all the time. I said, let's go somewhere where we can slow down.
Mm-hmm.
Let's go somewhere where, you go
You can
downtown, everything is slower. It really is. I mean, I know some folks here don't think it's slow, but it's slow.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And so that's what we wanted to do. I wanted to better our family to come somewhere where it was slower. Sometimes it makes me mad, but but you're like, why do you do it this way? But
you see what you miss out on.
Yep, exactly.
And you don't really see what you miss out on when you're just constantly going.
Yep.
I mean, like I said, those car shows are long, all-day deals, but I seen what it done for my child that day. I'm not looking for a trophy when I go. But to make a 9-year-old want to enjoy things with her dad, that's what I really enjoy.
Right. And that's where, I was going to say this, but then I forgot that we got off whatever, but because we were dove hunting too.
Yeah.
Right. I wanted him to have more trigger time than I did.
Yep.
I wanted him to enjoy it. I wanted him to get a bird. I wanted him to do, and you're right. When we put ourselves out of it, man, you could just see him be like, bah, 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 just the excitement, just the joy.
Yep.
Where if I was pushing him aside and going, no, I'm getting these birds.
Yep.
That's not teaching him anything.
No.
Nope.
I mean, I have most of my, I've longed for this life of being able to have a car in a car show. I was always tired of being the one that just showed up and not have anything. But I've had 3 car shows with this, and I'm sitting here going, like you were saying, you just let them have their time.
Let them.
I'm sitting here going, I've had my time. Why can't they have it now? Let alone I'm sitting here thinking back of your little story. That's 2 generations of that man telling you his stories. You and Wyatt now. Wyatt's going to come back in a few years and go, man, I met this guy, and pass it on. Hopefully one day Hannah's going to look back and go, yeah, I ran that car show. I did this.
Right.
But no, I'm just saying, it's awesome to be able to have those experiences.
It is. It's such a great joy. And go,
I had my time. Why can't I just be happy and content about all that?
It makes me happy to see them happy.
Exactly.
Right? It gives me all the joy in the world to make them happy. Now, when I take myself out of it, if I put myself back into it, it's a short joy.
Yep.
But now when I make them happy, man, we still talk about it days later.
Yep.
We'll talk about it a month later. We'll talk about it. I mean, just that amount of joy is just awesome to see them shine or them to, just to do something. And you're right. And to do something with your dad, doing something with one of your parents, doing something like that where we take ourselves out of it and we put them first.
And now Haley, after she's won a trophy over there at the car show, I always told her the rule was we don't trash our vehicles. We clean them. So now I don't have to say that anymore. She got her trophy for her car because it was nice and clean and all that. So every week she's like, are we going to the car show? I'll take mine too. And I'm like, heck yeah, go clean your car. So, I mean, you don't realize too what kind of life lessons are in all that as well. And not only for you, for them, and everybody's around that sees that. And it might be this tiny of a life lesson, but you're sitting there thinking always on that. It could have been this big, but you're still thinking about that little one too.
Right.
You're sitting there going, wow. They're learning the responsibility of taking care of their stuff. They're learning the responsibility of, we're sitting here for 4 or 5 hours and they're not doing a daggum thing but sitting with family and enjoying some time.
Yeah.
And that's what I was getting ready to say.
And it might be that, or it might be like, we went to this one in Decatur and they had a bunch of stuff there. It's just stuff that we're so worried about during the week that we're working. We're not worried about our kids as, the time with our kids because we're coming home from work. I'm tired. I'm hungry. We're doing this. You take a day and you just put a smile on their face. Or your wife, or vice versa. I'm just sitting here going, it's not all about you. And it gives you a thrill. And I was trying to compare this to Jesus on the cross too, but I can't really make a good, but he did it for everybody else. And he had a joy for it to come back 3 days later and say, you have a chance to go to heaven now.
Right.
So I'm sitting here going, he took himself out just to make us happy.
Yep.
And now he gets to call us children. And you could just imagine a smile on his face because of who we are and where we're going to be with him. And that's the best I can go with that. But I'm just saying,
that's awesome.
At the end of the day, it gives me thrill that we bought this car now because it's not about the car. It's about the time I get to spend with everybody else. We had the Ranger. We had everything else. And it was still the time. It wasn't the fact that we had a possession. It was more of the effort that we had us together.
Yep.
And the memories, the moments, all that. And the older I get, about 10 years, 20 years ago, I'd probably just say, yeah, I got me a Ranger. Who cares about everything else? Now it's like, dude, did you just see Haley crawl over that rock over there? Did you see Hannah try to break my Ranger? No.
Right.
I'm just saying, we were all out there having a time of our lives. We go to your all's houses as family. Yours, and we hang out. Do you remember that joke he said? Do you remember we all had fun? Do you remember this and that? Remember sitting on the porch?
Yep.
It's the moments. I mean, people need to stop and think about that. I try to sit here now. I'm not the oldest, but I'm getting old now, I guess. I'm just sitting here looking back going, why was I trying to live a way that wasn't really my way that I needed to have, God's way, I guess. But
that's what the world convinced you need to do.
Exactly. You get a little taste of it and you want the whole package.
Just like the moments that you have, Ray, with Harmony.
Yep.
You just said when you walked in that she was learning how to pitch, right? I mean, now that you're called to learn how to pitch, that probably brought a joy to hers, and you're sitting there watching her trying to pitch.
Yep.
And I know, we've lived a softball life too, that the struggles, all that stuff that goes through their head, but we're sitting back and going, man, I get to sit here and watch my kid.
When it gets paid off, you're sitting there going, all that yelling, all that screaming, all that determination,
the frustration.
That practice, look at what you're doing now. You're bringing joy to everybody, and you don't try to make it of just that person. It's a blessing within itself. You're sitting there going, man, I yelled and screamed at her. I feel bad now, but you know what?
Right.
It's one of those deals that if I didn't do that and push her as hard, she wouldn't find the joy in what she's doing either. It may sound harsh what you're doing it, but at the end of the day, when they learn something or somebody learns something from what you're trying to help them with, like sit down with the stories, it's mind-boggling that you can have that same feeling multiplied by 100 when it's somebody else that you're involved with.
Right. And we're going to get yelled and screamed at in life.
Yeah. It'll never go away.
Yeah, it never goes away, man.
Yep. And if you're living closer to Jesus, I think it actually is going to happen more.
Right.
Just saying.
Yep.
But you'll also have more people who give you, who you get the smiles from too.
Mm-hmm.
You really will. I think it actually probably more on that end than the other side. Yeah, the screaming and yelling will probably get worse, but the bounty will get better too.
Yeah.
Right. There's a blessing to be had for it, and I've always enjoyed doing that. I've always enjoyed helping people. I've always enjoyed trying to. If anybody needed anything, I was always the one who tried to help all the time. Trying to pass that along to my daughter too. I mean, that's one of the reasons why I'm an assistant coach on the team, is not because I think I know nothing about softball, like really at all. I'm learning it all as I go, but it's just like, I just want to help.
Right.
I can't sit there and not help and not see. It's like, okay, there's only 2 people on the field with 12, 9 and 10-year-old girls, trying to keep them all on the same page. And they're way outnumbered. And I was like, they need help. Yeah. So I was like, all right, I'm going to get out there and I'm going to help. And and I'll either figure out where they need help, or I'll look it up and see where God leads me on what information I find when I'm like, okay, how to teach little kids softball, right? And like, God, give me some good stuff. And I ended up having to do the first practice all by myself because the coach was like, yeah, all right, great, we'll get to meet. I'm actually going to be out of town for a whole week, so first 2 practices is actually all you. I'm like, oh, great. But I looked up some stuff online, did some research on some good drills to do with kids. Yep. And at the end of the practice, I mean, like the girls had a blast. The couple of parents were like, there was a great way to just keep them all engaged. They were all having fun. They were all learning, but they were getting, still getting in the basics and stuff like that too. I was like, I want to be like, it's not me at all. I have no idea what I'm doing. All right. This is all from God. I just said, God, help me find some stuff to search up. And he did. He definitely did. And just seeing them happy, seeing them all happy, seeing them all having fun and all having a good time.
Well, parents forget that.
They do.
Go to a T-ball game. Oh my goodness. They think they're like Ken Griffey Jr. or something.
They'll come closer to Ken Griffey Jr. if they have fun.
Right. We forget about the basics and the fundamentals, but no, yeah, you're right. Yep.
So I wish I want to do more. I always keep saying, okay, why can't I do more? Well, there's nothing holding me back but myself. But,
Now, that's kind of like, I like the position that I'm in now with the insurance thing. I like helping people. If I can try to help them the best I can.
Because it's something they need.
Something they need, But, yeah, I try to give the best thing that I can give. Saying, I want to help you. There's nothing in it for me. Like, I just want to help you.
Good.
There's not. I mean, like, and that's anything in life. And then, like we said, if you chase $1, you're just going to wind up short.
Yep.
If you chase helping people, you're just going to be satisfied. Right?
Yep.
If you chase that helping people, you're going to be satisfied.
Yep. If you stick to glorifying God, right?
Glorifying God.
We were, and I may have said it last podcast because I know I've said it a few different times recently, but it's one of the things I'm working on convincing myself, because I know it's true, but I got to convince myself, is that anytime you're doing any work for the Lord, you cannot fail. Now, it doesn't mean you might not fail at what you're doing,
right? But
you cannot fail God, because He already knows, again, what you're going to do. He He knows what you're going to say. He knows that it's not going to work if it's not going to work. He knows that it's going to work if it's going to work. So, and it was his plan. If it didn't work, that was his plan.
Yep.
So if you're sticking to just, okay, I'm doing this to glorify the Lord because this is going to bless people. This is going to make people's lives better. This is going to help people, right? Then you no matter what happens, you actually succeeded. You just have to remember that there is the reward comes from even the trying, right? Right? Because we're not looking for the earthly reward. We're not looking for the earthly success.
Right.
The reward is in heaven. So it does not matter if you spent the next 10 years of your life working on some organization to help feed people who, whatever, right? Anything you want to do, find shoes for kids. I just making up something random. And you spent 10 years doing it and it was just a struggle and in 10 years it folded and it went under. You didn't fail. If you're doing it for the Lord, you didn't fail. Along the way, who knows how many people you saved? Who knows how many people got help? Who knows how many this and that happened, right? So
it might be time to move on and
do something else.
A different
right
type of ministry.
Exactly. Right. And so it's that understanding that if your goal is to love others for God, that don't worry.
That's weird. Does it say love thy neighbor?
Can't fail.
I think that's what it says, right?
It does.
I think you're making it up. Prove it.
Yeah, prove it.
Yeah.
Prove it. So I'm trying
boys,
to convince myself of that.
Yeah.
I'm trying to keep that's I need to remember that because all those times where I'm like, I don't know what to say, I don't know what to do. Is this the right person? Is this the right time? And all that. It's always the right time.
Always.
It's always the right time. God is good.
Yep.
All the time.
All the time.
And we got to remember too that conversation with a neighbor is not always a godly conversation. I'm not saying. What I'm trying to get to is just a conversation with somebody to break the ice or to start it. It's not always a Bible thumping question.
No, it's not.
When they know you're there just to have a conversation, you can ease that in at any time, or they'll see your actions or see it through you at one point.
Yep.
So we're not telling you to walk up to your neighbor and preach to them. It might work, it might not. I'm just saying the conversation just needs to start with a friendly conversation.
That's it.
Let's just have a conversation.
Yep.
The sky's blue. I know it for a fact because I opened my eyes and looked at it. Not always, hey, you're going to get saved or I'm going to drag you over and do it.
Right.
It's
right.
People are not going to respond. We had this conversation earlier. It's not always a straightforward task. It's let's talk and work our way to where we need to be.
Yep.
Because you're going to have the Holy Spirit behind you no matter what.
If you're there.
If he says this is the conversation you're going to have, the words will come out of your mouth.
Yep.
If this is a conversation you need to befriend a feller, you're going to do that too.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think it may be taken out of context a lot when they say, love your neighbor. You got to do this to your neighbor. Well, loving your neighbor may be just a conversation, opening your ear. They may want to talk.
Helping them out with something.
They may want you to talk to them. You never know.
But it just happened today.
Yep.
Like just random. I usually go to like this restaurant down the street, eat lunch. I knew they were closed today, so I said, I need a protein drink. I'll just go to protein. There's that Grab It Nutrition there. I talked to the lady there, and by the time we were done talking, she's like, "Man, you just made my day.
Yep.
You just made my day. You just really, because she knows I go to church. She knows that that I believe in God and I follow God, and it just went on to that. We had a great conversation, and she's like, "Man, they started a Bible study too, and they were doing things and being active and
just giving them some encouragement."
And that's all it was, and it was just random, right? I'm like, you know what? I'm just gonna go in there and get that's all. I was just focused on just getting a protein shake, say hi, and then that was it. Now we were there for good 15, 20 minutes, and
because God's will work its way out wherever he has planned for it.
Right.
And I mean, that conversation may be on a one-time deal, or it may be a conversation for life now.
Yep.
And whatever his will is, that's how we're going to do it. It's not our will. It's not our. You didn't just choose to walk in there and have a conversation with somebody.
Right.
I mean, his timing is perfect.
Yeah. And I think God gives us those desires.
Yep.
He does.
Right?
He'll put
He
the
puts
Holy Spirit
desires.
will speak to you.
Right. And
it
it
will.
speaks.
Yep.
And
Yep.
if we listen, stop
Yep.
and listen for a minute and go, I'm going to go that way.
Right.
Yep.
So if you feel the pull to do it,
Yep.
then that's when you should.
Yeah.
And especially if you don't want to, that's
Yeah.
when you should.
Right. Right.
But it's even as simple as
Yeah.
just saying, like you said, it doesn't have to be about like, have you read Isaiah 24? It can just be as simple like, hey, God has really been blessing me today.
Yep.
God is good. He's been good to me today.
That's why I
And
said
you
today,
start
too.
right there.
And I said it, too.
Yep.
I says, God is good.
Mhm.
God is good.
Yep.
You know, and
Yep.
Yep.
That's the door, right?
Mhm.
Yeah. You open those little doors, you open those little windows, because somebody who's not ready to listen is not going to listen.
Yep.
no.
Right? You
Yeah.
could
Yep.
you could have the best testimony and telling of it you've ever had, but if that person's walls and defenses are up already, or again, if God's hardened their heart and it's not the right time or place, nothing's going to happen. And that's
Yeah.
not your fault. You don't lose points for doing that, right? So you could still, that's fine if you did it and it didn't
Yeah,
work.
and she's a
Great.
godly woman too,
Right.
Yeah.
Like, and I know that, you know, and I've heard their
Yep.
stories, and you know, and she's a very, you know, just a strong, godly woman,
Right.
You know, and it's like we just have a great conversation about
Yeah.
God,
Right.
Yep.
And you got to do that nowadays too, because unfortunately there is a bunch of Christians who got a lot of stuff wrong and do not get it, don't have it all sorted out. So being able to even when you come across a Christian, I'd be like, oh, you believe in God too? Okay, good. Well, let's talk about football instead then, because God's covered. There's nothing to talk about
Right.
there.
No, yeah,
Yeah,
no.
because you might find out they again go to one of these churches that's sliding away, that's falling away. Maybe you can have a discussion, but like, oh well, you know, I really just don't feel that that's what the Bible says. I don't. That's not what the Bible's telling me, and I just think that that's an issue that those churches are going to have to deal with, and maybe that'll open the door to that person
Yeah.
to converse more about that. Maybe come check out a different church or see that hey, maybe something is wrong. Be like, hey, have you read the Bible? Because it says these things,
or maybe
aren't
they
right.
got it right,
Or yep.
and we just get to sit there and talk about God,
Right.
You know what I mean?
You never
Which-
know until you talk to them about
Right.
it.
Or they shine a light on us. That
Right,
we
exactly.
needed,
Yep,
that
exactly.
We needed to hear.
Maybe I shined her light, but then she shined mine too. I left out
Yeah.
her like, man, this is awesome.
Or we have a conversation with a young man at a table, and he asks questions that he didn't have a clue about or was afraid to ask. And you sit there and you talk like men, and you get it out of whatever, however, whenever. I mean, it's just a situation we had there. We were mostly questioning a boyfriend about intentions with the daughter, and it turned into what's your intentions with God?
Yep.
And because I don't remember who actually said it. If you can't get right with God, you're basically not going to get right with her, and we'll make
Yep.
sure of that.
Yep.
And
Yep.
I mean, it probably wasn't said like that, but it was basically
That's pretty close.
basically just
Implied heavily.
Yeah.
It was kind of Billy Graham direct.
yeah.
It was.
That's what we was talking about earlier.
So I mean, you don't ever know where the conversation's going to go, but in that situation, he had pretty good questions to ask by the end of the day, because I did, and then finally it was, what's it really mean, you know? And we didn't have all the answers, but we're like, hey, we'll figure it out with you if we need to, you know? And it, like I said, the conversation wasn't totally geared toward that. It was more, what's the intentions with the daughter, you know? But you just never know where it goes. And
No.
by the end of the day, it may help you more than it helped them, or it may help them more than it helped you.
Right.
But the conversation was out there, you know, and the feelings of, well, I know I can go talk to him, or I don't ever want to talk to him again. You know,
That's right. I think that's where it's at right now.
yeah. But I mean, with the situation with with the lady here, she may want a conversation more later.
Right.
You know,
Right.
she may not. You only get one day, and that's it. You made her day one time.
Right.
Leave her alone.
It could
No.
be. You know, but
But I would say, don't be afraid to talk to somebody. They're just another human being, just like you.
yep.
You don't need to walk on eggshells all the time, because we don't know when the last days are. Are you going to be judged on, well, you didn't talk to a person because you were afraid to say something? So at the end of the day, you'll be judged on that. I gave you an opportunity.
Yep.
You didn't take it.
Right.
I think I'd be more scared about that part than actually be nervous about talking to somebody.
Yeah.
You know.
Right.
And usually I don't have a problem talking with anybody, but the words may not come out as good as he speaks it. You know, pretty and talk.
Yeah.
Try.
Hello, my name is Ray.
Yeah. But I'm saying that's just another excuse the world give you.
That's it.
I mean, rejection.
Yep.
You know what? I've been rejected a lot in my life. What's one more?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
At least the words come out of my mouth, and that's the way we all should feel. Not saying I always do it. I'm not high and mighty here. Whatever you call it, I can't remember all the time, but not a Bible thumper, but holy hole. Yeah, I'm not a holy hole. But
Don't be
I'm
a
just
holy
saying,
hole.
I'm saying I'd rather be judged that I did say something more than I was afraid to do
Right.
something.
Right.
You know?
So we're supposed to have a fear of God.
Yeah.
Right. That's
Oh,
that's
yeah.
the
Not a man.
no.
God.
Right.
Yep.
Because that is the basis. We have a fear of what we deserve.
Yep.
Because we understand what the wages of our sin, and we understand what those are, and we understand what God owes us, and we should have a fear that He's going to give us what He owes
absolutely.
us.
I think a lot of us forget that.
Yeah.
Right. Right.
A lot of us do because we don't have a backbone no more.
Nope.
That's the problem. We're always afraid we're going to offend you. I
We
love
should be
it.
afraid of only one thing.
Yes.
There's only one thing to be afraid of, and it ain't anybody on this earth. It ain't a single person on this earth. No one here can touch you, even Satan.
No.
Right? But yeah, you're right. That's why we talked about that too. Whenever it comes across anyone who wasn't a Jew in the Old Testament, or as they transitioned into Christians in the New Testament, if they weren't Jewish but they were involved and God was blessing them, it was always because they had a fear of the Lord. That means a respect of the Lord, right? That's something I was trying to try to get across to my daughter too. It's okay to have fear of something, because that means you have respect for
Right.
that thing,
Yep.
right? I have a fear when I'm riding on a motorcycle. There is a fear there because I respect that thing. I know if I do something wrong, it could be the end of everything real quick, right? Anything you do and then adrenaline is involved, there's fear there, right? Everybody has fear. It's how you deal with it and how you let it affect you.
Right. Growing up, I was a fear of my dad.
Yeah. Right. Right. Which kids could use a lot more of nowadays. I tell you
yeah.
what, fear of their parents, fear of their fathers, fear of God. Because if they're not afraid of you, how the heck are they going to be afraid of God, who's not even, they don't need to see,
Right.
Yeah, we're not their friends.
Nope. We're
Yep.
parents.
Yep.
Yep. That was
There's
actually,
a friendly relationship there, but we're not their friends.
Yep.
That's the issue.
That's later.
Yep.
Yep. God called us to make disciples, not to make homies.
Yep.
That's a good one.
I mean, yes, at the end of the day, we should be their authority figure and their parent, but when they get enough, like we said, old enough to respect that, then you could be your homie.
Yeah.
But I think we get that backwards. I think we try to be homies before we try to be
Yep.
authorities.
Yep. We do.
Yep.
Because that's what the world tells you that you're supposed to do now.
Yeah.
Right? That's what you're supposed to do.
Uh-huh.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so sorry, this is a complete aside, but it's something I wanted to bring up tonight, and we can talk about it if we need to or not. But one of the things I did see up in Joplin, just the crazy depravity, the route it's going, what they're pushing.
You chose to go there.
We did.
Remember
We
that.
walked
When
by
you
a
tell
mall.
us that, you chose it.
We walked by one of those mall stores, right? We walked by Spencer's Gifts, right? You know, I haven't been in a Spencer since I was in high school, right? Because that's the only people who shop at that store. It's like high school kids.
Yeah.
And right in the front, 3 of the brand new hoodies that they're putting out for the year. One says "I heart hot teachers," the other one says "I heart MILFs," and "I heart hot dads," and "I heart hot moms." And I'm just like, what is this insanity?
Yeah.
Insanity that they're pushing out. Like this is what they want kids to wear to school. That's what they're pushing. They're trying to make that okay.
You know, it goes to one extreme to the other. I mean, people don't know how short shorts are anymore. They don't understand what their shirts are saying. I mean, they understand. They don't. I don't know about you guys, but we got beat back in the day if we had to.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Right.
I mean,
that would have been like, you're not coming to this school no more.
Compared to what we were taught when we were in school. Your shorts went below your knees. You wear something suitable.
Right.
You know.
Right. you'd never wear something like that to school. I was just blowing my mind that this is what they're trying to normalize right now. But again, that's what the world is constantly trying to teach people, that all these things that your heart wants, all these things that your flesh wants, that's okay. Don't worry about that.
Right.
Like, that's what you want. It's all about what you want. It's not about what anybody else wants.
Right.
I tell my wife I was born in the wrong era, because I'd have loved to be back in the 20s wearing a suit everywhere.
No,
I don't need a hoodie that says
you complain how hot it is now wearing shorts and a t-shirt.
I understand, but I'm saying
I
back
like
in the
see
day.
him in a suit
Yeah, I
with
would
a
too.
vest and all.
I haven't seen him on a suit on Sunday.
Because I don't have to.
Yeah, see?
Yeah.
You can bring it back.
But
Right.
you had the respect and the suitability to be able to wear stuff like that back then. Now it's whatever you want to. Walk around naked if you have to. And it's like, no. Have some humility. Have some respect.
Have some respect.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And, yeah.
I mean, we must be getting older.
Yeah, no doubt.
'Cause I remember my parents saying the same stuff.
Yeah. You don't know anything.
Yeah.
This is cool.
This is cool now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I was like, I can sag my pants. Now I look around. I'm like, you pull the pants up, boy, or I'm going to help you with it. No. But yeah, I think we should, it's time for reevaluation. But it's not going to start with us just saying it. It's going to have to be everybody figuring that part out.
Well, we only got two options, right?
Because it should be us anyway in our own household starting that.
Right.
It's not up to the world to
No, it's
tell
not.
everybody. It is us, but I'm saying it needs to be everybody on the same page.
Right.
Yep.
Our households, our kids, our wives, our families, our churches, we have to be holding the line of morality.
Oh,
Yep.
yeah.
And the difficult part is what we're called to do, like from Jesus' standpoint, right? Because he does not call us to fight. He does not call us to go to war over these things. He calls us to stand for them
And not back down.
and not back down from them.
Yep.
But it is, I mean, Jesus is not a pacifist, but he is nonviolent, is the best way I think I could say it. Because from my looking through it, studying of it, all of that, we would go to defend someone else's life, but we would lay down our own to defend our moral. We would not defend our own life in defense of that moral, right? Jesus did not call anyone who is going to be crucified or murdered under his name to fight the people who wanted to murder him, did he? Ever. Not once.
Right.
If you're, so in this moral stand that we are going to have to hold, it is coming. We will either have to hold, or we are all going to be wiped away by it, because it is not, I don't see it shifting back. Like I said, there's two options. It either shifts back and we start taking back over, and that means the end times aren't here, or end times are here, and it's getting worse and worse and worse, and there's going to be no shift back.
Yeah.
It's just going to keep getting worse for us. And one thing that as Christians we need to remember is that, again, we are to stand there at that front line of the morality to say what we believe, what we know is right,
Yep.
that God has told us is right, and to die on that hill. And that's where we're supposed to be at.
That's the only hill to die on.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. That's the only hill I want to die on.
Yep.
The one where Jesus is standing. But we are not to, and we even talked a little bit about this the other day, right? Like, Second Amendment, would I die to defend the Second Amendment? No, I would not. I will defend it up until, I will defend it because I believe it's morally right. I defend it because I believe people have the right to defend themselves and protect others, right? But at the same time, if it came down to it, I would not fight a war over that, because that's not in the Bible, has nothing to do with salvation. But
Yep.
if it came down to defending Christianity, if it came down to defending my belief in God, that I would die for. That I would die for.
It's the only hill to die on.
Yep.
And everybody wants a good book to read. Why don't you read the good Bibles? Because if you want a good thriller and action, it's one of those books that everything's already happened and it's repeating itself. So you can see the front, the middle, and the ending of exactly what we're living through nowadays. Yeah, it's different time, but same story.
It's all in there. It's all in there,
Yeah.
right?
So
Everyone's heard
yeah.
the phrase, right, that those who do not study history are doomed to repeat it, right?
Right.
So I heard so I also heard this recently, which I thought was great. those who do study history are doomed to watch everyone else repeat it.
Exactly.
Because that's what we see. We can see it because we've read the Bible. We understand the story. We see where this goes. We know where it's happened over and over and over again. And
like, I do give my respect to the people that have, we call the ultimate sacrifice, right? That's laid their lives down in war for our freedoms that we have in America.
Oh yeah.
And for the law enforcement or fire guys or anybody, the first responders.
Right.
Like, that's where my respect goes to those individuals every single time.
Right. Because they didn't go over there to fight for their life.
Right.
They didn't go into that burning building to save their life.
Nope.
They didn't come charging in, guns out, to find the threat to save their life.
No.
Had nothing to do with
saving
them.
other people's
It was
lives.
saving other people. Right.
Yep.
Right. So, and I know it's hard. I have a hard time kind of putting it in the concise words, but it's the whole Christians are not called to band together to get weapons and to fight against tyranny. That is not what we are called to do.
Yep.
We're called to band together, get Bibles, and to speak against tyranny, and die on that hill.
It's same concept. They have the joy of saving your life as we have the joy of letting our kids or letting somebody else take ourselves out of it and having that joy.
That's what they did.
It's the same joy.
Yep.
Because they know as soon as, if they can't stop it, there's 100 people going to get hurt or more
Or more.
It's just saying, they feel like they have that same joy.
Yep.
And yes, all respect.
That's what I do. I talked to an Army vet today, man. Same thing, man. I told him, man, I just appreciate your service.
Yep.
He came back, but he's medically discharged. But man, you did that for somebody else.
Yep. And I don't think we all ever forget that.
No, I don't think so either.
I think a handshake or a thank you goes a long ways with people in those situations.
Yep.
Because we realize it, but we take advantage of it. Is their life's messed up.
Yeah.
From that point on,
Take it for granted.
and we sit here. Our lives may be messed up too, but we don't see what they had to go through. And we sit here and just take that for granted. Just a simple thank you and a handshake goes a long ways with people like this.
Yep.
Because they get so disrespected that when they get that respect back, they have that joy of, I did it for these people.
Yep.
And we don't ever need to forget that.
And sorry I brought it up too, because you're talking about dying on the hill and dying for Christ too. But
No, but it's exactly the right. It's the same vein. It is the same vein because it's you know what? Only the ultimate sacrifice was made by Jesus.
It was
for us.
That was
right?
the ultimate.
God, shake
Ultimate.
his hand and say thanks for that.
Yep.
Right? We all should. But at the same time, that's what we got to try to remember to do as Christians, is to give up everything that we have and want and desire for other people.
And if you don't think that these people that do the ultimate sacrifice for us don't have second thoughts about it, you can go to the Bible and look at Jesus.
Yeah.
Okay. It's nothing new. It's the same feeling.
Yep.
But they knew they had to get the job done.
Yep. He said,
That's
if there's any other way,
Yep.
please take this cup away from me.
Right.
Right. He knew there wasn't, but he said, if there was, please.
But you just see these people still running inside the building. You see the guys running towards the gunfire. You see those people.
Yep.
They don't want it, but they have that in them that's what's going to have to happen.
Yep.
And
Time to
that's
go to
where
work, boys.
That's where the respect needs to.
Ladies too.
Right.
Ladies,
Yeah,
yes, ladies.
But
It's
That was boys as in general.
In general.
all he is. But
Yes.
All
yes,
y'alls.
we need to keep that in mind. It doesn't matter. Their lives are just as important. Their thoughts are just as important. They don't sit there and dream up this, I could do this and be a hero. They still have the second thoughts of, if there's any other way, let's do it.
Right.
Yep.
But
Yep.
at the end of the day, it's whatever has to be done too.
So yeah, Christians, we just got to remember that. That's what we're supposed to do, is when we see innocents being taken advantage of, when we see the young and the widows and the poor being taken advantage of, we should be charging in to help.
Yep.
And when we see morals being trampled and destroyed, I'm not saying we charge in and do, again, we don't go to battle, but we need to speak out against that.
Yep.
We need to hold that line. We need to reject it as acceptable. We need to reject it as okay, and speak the truth that this is not okay.
Yeah.
We
This
have a
stuff
mission.
is
That's our
not
mission.
okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's our mission.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And we can do it one person at a time. You don't have to do it in the
No,
whole group.
yeah.
I'm not saying everybody's got to start
Yeah.
routing in the streets, but
Yeah.
just speaking with the people and saying, hey, this is not what the Bible says at all.
Yeah.
This is not okay. These things are not okay. Like what's going on with, even if you just ask them, what do you think about all this?
Mm-hmm.
Like, have you heard this stuff's going on? Have you heard that's going on? What do you think about all this?
Yeah, we don't, like you said, we don't go looking for the war, but the battlefield's right in front of us.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
We don't go to 2 countries away just to look for it. It's right in front of us.
Mm-hmm. It's
So,
happening today. It's happening every day.
It's one of those deals that if you don't believe that, then you are part of the problem.
Right. Then Satan's got you. If you don't believe that he's here battling against us, he's got you.
Don't get me wrong. There is 2 countries away their own problems, but we have to go through all our problems just to get to theirs.
Yeah.
And if you don't see the problems right in front of you, then you're part of the problem.
Yep.
So
What do you think, Randy? You got a final quote?
I think I do. Let me look here.
I think it's about time.
Yeah.
Yeah, this might be geared towards the front of our podcast instead of, but love is when the other person's happiness is more important than your own.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
That finishes off real good.
It does. It does. Because we're supposed to love our neighbors.
Mm-hmm.
Love everybody. Love
I love
everybody
you guys.
else.
In a non-weird way, I love you guys.
Love you too, Randy.
No, I
You
said
too,
that.
Randy.
I don't really mean it. I just said it just to be nice.
Oh.
No, I'm just joking.
I know you don't like me, and I don't like you. But wait, I like you.
You guys are my boys. Like it or not, boys for life.
Yep. No.
Dang it.
Well, good.
You can't get rid of me.
Man.
Go to another state like you did. See what happens. I'll follow you.
He'll come find you.
I know it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you can't. He's got that engine in him. He'll come find you.
Yeah, he went that way. That's another thing, guys. If you find you some peoples, you need to find them. I mean, good Christian people to be with. Be yourselves with.
Yep.
That's the point.
Mm-hmm.
Be yourselves.
But
You'll
also
get a lot accomplished that way.
encourage you,
Yep.
give you strength, give you edification. Also, call you out on your BS.
And we all got quirks, man.
Need that.
Yeah.
We all got quirks.
Yeah, we all get called out all the time.
Mhm. Not just by our wives.
No. But yeah, keep that in mind. That's still a respect thing. We all keep each other close enough that we respect each other as well. So
Mhm.
that's still part of all this here. We don't just, you might hear us rag on each other through the whole thing. That's part of it. I mean, that's how you know you got a good group.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I know. I'm grateful to the Lord that He put us here.
Yep.
We are. There's no reason we should be where we are right now. There's no reason I should have moved here. I have no idea why I would have.
Yep.
Right? People ask me why, and I never have. I don't have a good answer.
I still
really
haven't
don't.
figured that out. I would not pick this place.
Yeah, but I love it.
Dude,
I
it's beautiful
love it.
here, man.
Yeah.
I don't think people realize on how beautiful it is too. Because when we went to Texas too, it's desert. It's all
Yeah.
dry.
Yeah.
It's just
we
windmills now.
love it
Windmills for
here.
windmills.
Yep.
But I'm like, yeah, even talking to Corey's brother-in-law too. He goes, man, I'd move to Arkansas in a heartbeat. You guys don't even know.
Yep.
Like, it's beautiful. The lakes, the trees, the
The
mountains.
hills. Yeah. It's just
yeah.
enough hills. They're not super steep
Right.
mountains, but just enough. You got a
Yep.
good up and down, and if you enjoy driving, the drives around here are
Yep.
just fantastic.
I got too much concrete around me. I don't know what you boys are talking about.
Well,
Well, it's
yeah.
because Randy's so busy working that
Over
he
there
don't
in
go out and
Bentonville.
enjoy the.
Oh, I go to the great state to work. I know how good land over there is.
Yeah. Well, Ray, do you want mind closing us?
Sure. No problem at all. Here, let me get my
Hey,
hat
Ray,
off. Yes.
before we do that,
Yes.
he might have had the final quote, but I want to add to it with a verse. Proverbs 13:20. He who walks with wise men will be wise, but the companion of fools will be destroyed.
Yep.
Every
So
time.
what are you saying? Are we the fools or are we wise men?
We don't know yet.
We don't know yet.
We'll find out when we get destroyed or not.
Right.
I don't know if I should take it as a compliment or not yet.
Maybe a warning.
We'll know someday.
Are you telling us to find some new people?
See the red
No.
light?
Right.
No.
Right. 100%.
That's awesome.
That is a good one. That's a great one to remember.
Yeah.
You know?
I think it went well with.
I think you're right.
Mm-hmm.
That's definitely God directed you to that one for sure.
Yep.
Yep.
All right. Well, dear Lord, creator of all things, God, we give all glory to you. We are so thankful for all the abundance that we have, for the blessings that we have, for the fact that we have this place, this time that we have with each other to just share how much we love you, how much we want to share you with others, and we want others to know you and you to know them. We just ask that you take everybody who's listening tonight and help them find the courage you've given them, help them find the power you've given them to not only share your love and share your word with other people, to share their lives with other people, to share everything they have with other people. We just need to give our time, give our love, give our energy, give our money if that's all we got to give whatever we have. And that will just grow your kingdom on this earth, spread your glory on this earth, and bring us all closer to seeing you sooner, even sooner. Just keep us safe tonight, Lord. Everyone who's listening, we love you so much, God. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Thank you for listening to Spiritual Debriefing, a podcast supported by First Baptist Church Hiwasse. Please like and subscribe to the podcast so you can be notified when we post new episodes, as well as check out our past episodes. We'll be posting new podcasts every other Thursday. You can follow us on social media, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. If you have questions you'd like us to answer, comments, or feedback on the podcast, please contact us through our social media or email us at dmeadows@fbchiwasse.com. Thank you, and we hope God blesses your day.